Our top focus as of now, Torkham, the main border crossing between Afghanistan and Pakistan has been closed down as locals reportedly heard gunfire near the normally busy border transit point. According to local media reports, one Pakistani soldier was injured after the Afghan security forces opened fire near the border crossing. Reports said that the clash broke out at around 7:30 a.m. Kabul time on Monday, with both sides blaming each other for initiating the violence. This comes after Taliban authorities shut the country's busiest crossing with Pakistan near the Khyber Pass on Sunday. According to Taliban officials, the Torkham border crossing was closed for all trade and travellers. Reports quoting official sources said that Pakistani authorities had earlier made it mandatory for the Afghans to have legal travel documents for bringing their patients to the country for treatment. Meanwhile, hundreds of people, including patients, have been stranded and the shops are closed. Relations between Afghanistan and Pakistan have been tense since the Taliban took over Kabul in August 2021. Islamabad has often accused its neighbour of harbouring armed groups that have carried out strikes on its soil. Disputes linked to the 2,600-kilometre border have been a bone of contention between the neighbours for decades. The Torkham border point is the main point of transit for travellers and goods between Pakistan and landlocked Afghanistan. Clashes between Afghan and Pakistani security forces have also at times closed the second most important crossing between the two countries at Chaman to the south. Both nations are currently facing massive economic crises. Afghanistan is reeling from a drop-off in aid following the end of the US-backed occupation, while Pakistan is crippled by a domestic downturn and foreign exchange crisis, which has left it on the brink of default. And for more on this, we're now being joined by Brigadier Haris Nawaz, live from Karachi. He happens to be a defence and security analyst. Sir, welcome to WION World is One.
Thank you.
My first question, we know that this border crossing is crucial for the passing of travellers and goods. We hear that it has been closed down as of now. What's the situation on ground?
Actually, Priyanka, the problem is particularly this Torkham border and Chaman border in Quetta. They are very lifeline for both countries because the passengers from Afghanistan side and Pakistan, they keep traveling. The problem is when we have a lot of terrorism and we tell Afghan Taliban this cross-border terrorism is coming from your side and we face a lot of difficulty. Recently, you must have seen in Peshawar, we had a big blast in mosque. We lost over 110 lives. That was the reason we are now asking them to have a proper security system in which they should have some permission to come, and then when they come enter Pakistan, then what time they want to go back. We want to streamline it, and that is what they don't like because they're used to it, and that is a big problem. Then at times we have a cross-border firing, and that of course there are certain elements in Afghan border forces who have a soft corner for this Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, and that is what we have problem, and then we close the border. And then of course they face a lot of problems because the whole trade goes from Pakistan, and Afghanistan must understand Pakistan is hosting over 3 million foreign refugees, and they are now since a lot of time over here. And these are times they must start thinking to get them back. But still we are hosting them as a guest, and they must realize that Pakistan has different problems. And the problem is that cross-border terrorism has not stopped.
Right. If I may come in over there, talking about cross-border terrorism, this also is a sign of rising tensions between the Afghan Taliban and Pakistan. We've seen recent tensions flare up of late, especially when it comes to acts of cross-border terrorism. Is there a solution in sight, especially at a time when both countries separately are facing their own domestic crises? The economic crisis is, of course, coming to light repeatedly.
Janka, the issue is Afghans, they don't have a writ in their government. That is a big problem. When you don't have a political stable government, then you have a financial crisis. With these two problems, you can't have a control over the whole of Afghanistan. And then these terrorist organizations, they get strength, and then they start operating and they can't control it. And that is what Pakistan have reservation. We have sent an official delegation, we told them, they at times try, but then they are not controlled. They can't control it because they don't have a writ all over Afghanistan. This is a basic issue, and that's what Pakistan says to American and NATO countries, you have destroyed Afghanistan, please support them now. Now is the time, give them financial support, and they must have a politically inclusive government, which American Afghan government has so far not done it. They must have ethnic balanced government. Hazaras, Tajiks, and Uzbeks, and Pathans all have to be having a balanced ethnic representation. That they are not doing it. So that's how we are facing problem. Peaceful Afghanistan means peaceful Pakistan. The more peace is there, the more peace in Pakistan. That is what we always demand and we expect. But we are ready to do every support and effort for Afghan, whatever they want. But the problem is TTP. They have to push them. They had promised that their land will not be utilized for any terrorist activities across the country.
Right.
But that is happening, and that is Pakistan's operations.
Right. So thank you so much for all your inputs, and thanks for joining us at WION World is One at this hour.
WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.